Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're tracing the path of medicines, quite a journey, really from the lab bench right through to safe use. We've looked at a lot of material covering everything from ethical trials to managing poisoning.
Yeah, and our aim is to pull out the key stuff for you, give you a good handle on this whole field without, hopefully, getting too bogged down in the detail.
Right. And it's amazing when you think about it, just how many checks and balances there are after a drug is discovered, just to make sure it's okay for us.
Absolutely. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes.
Okay, so let's start with a core idea: rational drug use. The World Health Organization, the WHO, they talk about the right drug, right dose, right duration, right cost.
And crucially, for the right patient.
Yeah.
Sounds simple enough on paper, doesn't it?
It does, but apparently it doesn't always happen that way. Our sources flagged some common problems.
Oh, yes. Things like getting antibiotics for a virus, which, won't work. Or people still using drugs that have actually been banned, like cisapride.
And polypharmacy taking loads of different medicines, maybe more than needed.
Exactly. That's another big one. And the risks are real. Treatments might fail. You get antibiotic resistance building up.
Which is a massive global issue.
Huge. And then there's the cost, both for individuals and the whole healthcare system. It adds up.
So how do we aim for more rational use? The WHO has some steps.
Yeah, pretty logical framework, actually. First, get the diagnosis right. Then figure out what you actually want the treatment to achieve the therapeutic goal.
Okay.
Then select the best drug for that goal. And finally, and this is important, monitor how it's going. See if it's working. Watch for problems.
Which brings us neatly to those problems: adverse drug reactions, or ADRs. Even with the right drug, things can go wrong, right?
Definitely. And the sources kind of break them down into two main types. Type A are the predictable ones.
Predictable how?
Well, they're often related to how the drug actually works. So, like atropine causing a dry mouth, that's a known side effect. Or certain antibiotics, aminoglycosides, potentially causing kidney issues at higher doses. That's toxicity, but it's somewhat expected.
Got it. So type A is kind of known territory. What about type B?
Type B is more unpredictable, often not dose-related in the same way. This is where you get things like serious allergic reactions, penicillin causing anaphylaxis is a classic example.
Wow.
Or rarer things like chloramphenicol causing aplastic-anemia, a serious blood disorder, but only in certain people. It's more idiosyncratic.
And there have been some really severe ADRs historically, haven't there? Thalidomide?
Yes, the terrible impact on unborn babies,
Right.
Or the link between some estrogens and cancer risk. It really underlines why we need systems to watch out for these things.
Which is pharmacovigilance.
Precisely. That whole process of detecting, assessing, understanding, and trying to prevent ADRs, it's ongoing surveillance, essentially.
It's a global effort. You mentioned centers.
Yeah, there's a national center in Ghaziabad here in India, and the big international coordinating center is in Uppsala, Sweden. It really shows it's a worldwide concern.
And reporting comes from doctors, pharmacists?
And patients, too. Patient reporting is increasingly important. If you suspect a problem, you should report it.
Good to know. Okay, let's shift slightly. What about when things go wrong accidentally, like poisoning?
Right. The absolute first priority is always immediate safety think, ABCs, and getting expert help fast. But it's interesting that for some specific poisons, there are specific antidotes.
Like what? Give us an example.
Okay, so for a morphine or heroin overdose, the antidote naloxone can rapidly reverse the effects. It's quite dramatic.
Wow.
Or for paracetamol acetaminophen poisoning, N-acetylcysteine is the specific treatment if given early enough.
So these antidotes directly counteract the poison?
In many cases, yes. And knowing these exist is why poison information centers are so vital.
You mentioned AIMS and Chennai.
Yes. AIMS in Delhi has the Untox system. Chennai uses PoisonDex. They offer 24/7 phone advice. If there's a suspected poisoning, call them. They guide treatment, know about antidotes. It's a crucial resource.
Definitely sounds like something people should know about. Now, just briefly touching on how drugs get here in the first place, the development process, it's pretty rigorous.
Oh, incredibly rigorous and long. Starts with preclinical tests, mainly in animals, looking at toxicity, how the drug moves through the body.
Pharmacokinetics.
Right. Then if it looks promising, it moves into human trials. Phase 1 is usually small groups of healthy people, checking safety, dosage.
Phase 2.
That's in patients who have the condition the drug is meant to treat, looking for efficacy, does it actually work? And refining the dose.
Then phase 3 must be bigger.
Much bigger. Large-scale trials in patients to really confirm it works, monitor side effects more broadly, compare it to existing treatments.
And even after it's approved, there's phase 4.
Yep. Post-marketing surveillance. Basically, ongoing monitoring as it's used in the real world by lots more people. That's often where rare or long-term side effects pop up.
And woven into all this is the cost aspect, pharmacoeconomics.
Yeah, it's unavoidable. Healthcare systems have limited budgets, so they look at things like cost minimization. If 2 drugs do the same job, maybe choose the cheaper one, like a generic.
Excellent.
Or cost effectiveness, weighing the cost against the actual health outcome you get. How much are you paying for, say, an extra year of healthy life? These calculations influence decisions.
And finally, underpinning all the human testing especially is ethics.
Absolutely critical. Informed consent is paramount. People have to volunteer, understand what they're signing up for. It needs to be documented in their language.
No pressure.
Zero pressure. And there must be an independent ethics committee made up of doctors, legal experts, even lay people from the community reviewing the trial protocol to protect participants.
And there are guidelines. GCP.
Good clinical practice. International standards to ensure the trial data is credible and, most importantly, that the rights, safety, and well-being of trial subjects are protected.
So wrapping this up, it's clear that getting safe and effective medicine isn't just about discovering a molecule. It's this whole ecosystem.
Totally. Rational prescribing, constant vigilance for side effects, being ready for emergencies like poisoning, ethical research, considering the economics. It all has to work together.
It really makes you appreciate what goes into that pill or injection.
It does. And perhaps a final thought for you, the listener. Considering all these systems and safeguards we've talked about, what's our individual responsibility in making sure medicines are used wisely, both for ourselves and maybe helping others in our community too?
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about. How do we play our part in that system? Good question.